Hello and welcome to the Mobile Mind Podcast. I'm Todd Greenberg, and this is my co host, Jeff Compton, and we are remotely interesting. We're going to discuss with you tonight some aspects of the nomad lifestyle that have to do with finding your tribe. I'm going to kick it over to Jeff for a little bit, and he's going to talk about where he currently is located, and then I'll discuss the same. Over to you, Jeff.
It's great to be here, Todd, and great to see you again. As we might get around to, I miss you and miss having wonderful adventures. So it's very relevant. But right now, the reason I'm missing you, a few other wonderful people I've met on the road, and the nomad lifestyle itself is because I'm a bit more rooted somewhere in the greater Salt Lake City area, in the Big Valley here. Um, for a variety of reasons, decided I needed to try and settle down or earn some money, those sorts of things. But I'm still everywhere I go and everything I do, I'm still driving around my little camper setup and missing just being in it.
Cool. I'm here in Quartzsite, Arizona, as you know, and I'm in the long-term visitor area, which is a first for me because the last time I was here, I was just basically out in the BLM free camping, um,
Mm.
the two week minute maximum stay area, and now I'm here for the season basically. Um, and I'm enjoying it so far. The weather's been great, and one of the things, and this is very pertinent to the topic we're going to discuss tonight, is I'm trying to. This is going to be cut later and edited. Um, One of the things that, and this is very relevant to the topic for tonight, is finding a social group, or basically what I consider to be finding your tribe. Uh, I'm working to reach out to others and step out of my comfort zone as an introvert and go out there and meet some people. And it's not easy to do for me, but it is something that is pretty simple. And as human beings, we need that social interaction. The the thing that drives me really for being outdoor oriented is the solitude usually, and this is kind of a diametric opposite of being socially connected at the same time. Um, Jeff, what are some of the things that the tactics that you use to remain socially connected and establish a network where you are currently?
Where I am currently. Oh, sure.
Yes.
As a preface, though, I just want to acknowledge for anyone listening uh, Todd, you're not the most effective introvert I've met. Because try as you might or be as you may be, um, folks may discover that you've got quite a few people you can call and have conversations like this, and that's just a testament to you. So, so fair enough. And I'm as Todd knows, I'm not so much of an introvert, but I've had a couple of rounds, if you will, a couple of maybe multi-month or couple year rounds of nomad lifestyle, and uh, about 10 years apart. And the most recent one, the one I'm still sort of kind of in, was a little less satisfying due to the solitude. I sought out to do kind of what I'd done
Hmm.
before: roam, wander, and just be out somewhere peaceful and wild, or at least mostly wild. And it's easy to do. And in fact, through some of the people I met, including you, Todd, I got great tips on more ways to do that and really get away out in the middle of nowhere. But found that it was a mixed bag for me, more so than a decade or so ago when I was that much younger, perhaps. So I've found myself over the course of about a year being more keen to sort of bounce between signals or follow little breadcrumbs to social and people based things that I was fortunate enough to have sort of flash in front of me connections I happen to make, more than chances to run off by myself for a good while again and again. So to your question, I'm taking or I'm benefiting greatly right now from people I happen to have crossed paths with, never would have expected to cross paths with, and I'm somewhat intentionally, but also somewhat in a following way, trying to just appreciate the chance to leverage that into things to do and work I can
Mm-hmm.
do, and very much more and more social opportunities with people who are great.
Oh,
So
cool.
that leaves me not knowing when I'm going to be back out wandering again, or to what extent I might go out wandering again. It's very possible that I'm going to be back to the weekend warrior or just the occasional getaway camp guy, and I wouldn't have guessed that 4 or 6 or 8 months ago.
Well, cool.
Yeah,
Just some background information, and just so people out there know how we met and everything like that. Last year, last December, um, both of us were at the Four Wheel Camper Owners Rally in Borrego Springs, California, and we happened to meet there and struck it up. And a little later on, I think, well, we exchanged contact information there at the rally, and later on, you reached out to me, seeing what I was up to,
yeah,
and I don't know where I was at the time. I think I was probably in Tacoma, California, maybe,
yeah, right.
or just
Sounds
gone through
right.
there.
Hmm.
And so we uh, we hatched a plan to drive the Mojave Road um, over the Christmas holidays.
Oh,
And so
such a great trip.
what?
It
Oh
was
yeah,
such a great
yeah.
trip. Oh,
And we did that and had spent Christmas out there and did that. Just a couple of lone wolves, young bucks out there in the wild, and that was a good trip. I enjoyed it. It was really a good trip, um, and I would do that again, definitely. Uh,
absolutely.
but that that eventually that kind of kindled this friendship, and later on, uh, I contacted you because you
Mhm.
were in the Colorado area in the summer, and
Yeah,
I said, well,
yeah,
I've got a bunch of friends, my tribe that from Texas, my original tribe from Texas, that were coming up to camp with me, and so I invited you up, and uh, you actually came through before they showed up, and then came back when they were here,
yeah,
or
yeah.
back when they were there, and you just kind of seamlessly fit in with everybody else. It's just kind of a collection of interesting individuals and couples and families and things like that, and it
Mhm.
really worked. It really works for me and worked for you as well, I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, and I wanted to talk about finding your tribe because that's kind of really what's at the heart of my social isolation at times, is not having that tribe there on a regular basis. And I recognize, hey, that's something that I'm doing to myself at this point because I'm not back there in Texas with those folks. But
And I know they miss you too. They
I will
definitely
be,
do. Yeah.
yeah, I will be in a few months. But right now I'm not, and I miss those folks terribly. But I've really only known all of those people for 5 or 6 years or so, and
Oh,
we are a tight group right now.
yeah.
Before that, when I would camp, and I wasn't full time yet, but every summer and on weekends, um, I would go and camp with my sons, and since this you've heard my stories about how we camped as a married couple, so yeah. we didn't exactly, not properly anyway. Um, but this is post divorce, and my sons and I would go out and camp and enjoy the outdoors and things like that. And I really didn't need a social, a wide social group at that time because it was just family. And and once they got older and went off on their own, then I started having to try and find another group because and really what I did at the time is I got involved in a Jeep club and I met a
Right.
few individuals there. And whenever we went on some sort of an outing or something, it was always the same four people: myself and um, the other the other three guys, and from time to time with their girlfriends and wives and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, and then as time went on, I kind of expanded other people that got involved or invited into those sorts of things. I used to basically run um, guided trips, and which I can't do anymore because, which I won't do anymore because of the liability issues. But I used to run guided trips, multi-day guided trips into various areas, um, and I had people that would come on these trips again with these the same
Yeah.
four people, and then my circle expanded with some other people that wanted to go on the trips, and then they introducing me to their tribe and kind of this merging of these tribes together, and that's how the current group really formed. It's kind of like a amalgamation of several different smaller tribes into a larger camping tribe. And
Yeah.
since then, people have kind of dropped out of that and done their own thing. And then more people have, such as yourself, have joined us. And
Right.
it's still kind of really a close knit family, extended family kind of thing. Um, and I wanted to talk really about one of the things that makes that a close knit group. When you are sitting around a campfire and breaking bread together, um, it's more than just, it becomes at that point more than just sitting around making small talk. You
Yeah.
tend to get into deep discussions about life's meanings and challenges and things like that. Um, and just anything really that involves sitting down with a group of people and eating together. That is
Yeah.
it's it's something primal, and it's something that I think the humans. Um, it's another step up in the social aspect. In other
Yeah. You,
words,
you can expect to start relating more and more, and you start relating more broadly. You're just covering more topics and finding commonalities, but then you start to go deeper because you just have the time. And it's one thing you already have the advantage of that when you're just with people who want to be where they are and they have the time. But then to be somewhere under some trees, under some stars with the fire, it's
mm-hmm.
quiet. If you're really lucky, I guess, as far as a social lubricant goes, you've got maybe no cell signal. So even better,
Yes,
you're gathered around the fire. Hopefully, you don't even have anything to check or do or stream or beep at you. And yeah, you're all enjoying the same kind of thing. And it's certainly been my experience, and it was certainly my experience with you and your tribe that you're enjoying something simple and kind of primal, and then you
mm-hmm.
start talking about other things that you enjoy, and the conversation and the relating just bounces along. It's
Yeah.
I guess part of me enjoys that sort of thing because I like folks and I'm not too introverted, but I didn't have to try hard with your group for sure and others.
Yeah.
You mentioned us meeting basically a year ago, very still fresh in my mind, and the whole to go a whole year since then is kind of amazing because the folks I met at that exact weekend gathering, the camp out, and then just that weekend was really influential on my entire year. Had quite an impact, and I've heard you express what you might do now for folks, your just wise, your sage advice about campfires and campfire invitations.
Oh yes, that's a good segue because as a solo traveler, one of the things that I I decided early on is if somebody invites me to their campfire,
Mhm.
always say yes. Um, no matter what the circumstances, always say yes. Even if it kind of makes you feel uncomfortable, step outside of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
I have met some wonderful people that we were strangers, and they invited me to the campfire, and you know we were fast friends after that.
Yeah,
Um, uh, and
yeah.
one experience in particular, I was in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. This was September a year ago, and there was a couple there that were also in a four-wheel camper, and they invited me to their campfire, and I'm like, privately, I'm like, well, it's gonna be dark, and I need to go to sleep, but
But you have
um,
that rule.
I went ahead and went. Yeah, I went ahead and went because I have the rule,
Yeah,
and they were some of the most open and down to earth people, and we have been following each other on social media, and we've crossed paths. Um, we've
hmm
crossed paths with one another at Telephone Cove over there
ah, yes.
near Lake Mojave.
hmm
Yes, and in fact, they were getting together over Thanksgiving at Telephone Cove with a bunch
Wow.
of their nomad friends. Invited me to attend, and it just so happened that I had um, come back from, or I had just arrived in Quartzsite from Flagstaff,
Yeah,
and by way of Diamond Creek and Peach Springs in that area, spending some time up there, and I was essentially out of funds at that point when I showed up at Quartzsite. I didn't have money to pay for diesel for my big boat to make it up there to Telephone Cove, and I had to decline, and I was very disappointed that I had to decline. But yeah, that's a hard and fast rule for me is to always accept a campfire invitation, and that has happened several more times.
uh-huh.
As
Yeah,
you don't have to necessarily, if it's not your kind of people, you don't have to continue to. You can exit gracefully, and you don't have to continue to
yeah,
be um, socially connected to these people. When I was at Tacopa in California, that's outside of Death Valley. There's hot springs there, and I was camped near the hot springs, and there were some people there from Vegas, and they invited me to the campfire. Not really my kind of people, but I enjoyed getting to know them and meeting them. So haven't followed up with them or anything like that, and it was
but
just
you had an
it was nice to
experience
be
that
able to.
you appreciated that experience, right? So,
Yes,
so
and
I
it
can
was it was certainly a lot more enjoyable. Yeah, that's certainly a lot more enjoyable than sitting around
the same
doing
old
nothing.
sit around again, yeah,
Um,
which is comfortable.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I found that over the past year, for example, just the past year, I've done this in the past as well, but just over the past less than a year even, um, there were multiple times when I connected with people just one time, as you've described, and it didn't really stay in touch. Haven't seen each other
hmm
since. Not to say that we won't, but yeah, I can think of a number of instances where it's kind of a campfire share or some other encounter where you're both out camping, you're both out somewhere outside,
Hmm.
you or another person, another couple, family, whatever it is, and you interact some, and it's just um, it's it provides something. I mean, we're social creatures, so
Hmm.
interacting can be
Yes.
energizing, refreshing, just good practice. So, as you mentioned, you might have your kind of people, and um, when I, hearing you say that, when I think about it, I've had plenty of times, especially more crowded places, or heaven forbid, the actual pay campground that I occasionally might find myself in for some reason or other. But you'll have more people around or plenty people around. And in reality, if the more crowded the place is, the less likely I've interacted with everyone. If it's a busy campground, I'm not interacting with most people. But even in those crowded places, there are a few people I did. And once in a while, you have a really surprisingly pleasant interaction, which might just be a one off and you never speak again or see each other again.
Hmm.
But I can think of several of those. And the memory is just so pleasant. It was just such a good time. And I'm so grateful for it that I'm glad I was there at that crowded campground, which is not my style, as it's not yours. But I was like, that was a
Hmm.
great experience. Oh, well, I guess I don't need to dread those anymore. I just keep the antenna out for chances to have nice interactions with people. I've had that in
Yes.
places where there was hardly anyone else around, and places where there were lots of people around, and I found enough people to engage with. Yeah.
That's kind of reminds me of a place I stayed in Louisiana of all places. Um, I would stayed in a Corps of Engineers campground that was had full hookups and everything. Actually, not full hookups; it had electricity and water,
Yeah.
but it was really inexpensive. So I was going to stay there overnight on the way to Pensacola, Florida, but I ended up staying a couple of nights or several nights.
Yeah.
And camping next to me was a, a couple in a fifth wheel, and they were not there the first night, and they just had their trailer was there, and
Ah,
they I figured, it's a local. They just came out and parked their trailer, and they're saving their spot for the weekend. No big deal. Um, so I take the dogs, the adventure dogs, for a walk over to the spillway of the dam and everything, and then I come back, and they have arrived, and they have their grandchild with them, probably, I don't know, maybe 10-year-old boy,
nice.
and the kid had a guitar and a
Hmm.
banjo and a violin or fiddle, and he was playing those instruments there in this campsite. And then he noticed me over there, and he comes over and starts playing the guitar for me. And then I asked him
Really.
if he knew some songs, what songs he knew, and then uh, pretty soon the grandparents are both over, and they started singing, and after a while it became this musical event here at my campsite, and there was another
Nice.
retired couple that walked up, and then hey, you know, it became a thing, and it's just one of those spontaneous things that I didn't even. I was just open and welcoming to um, my neighbor there, and it became more of a social event than I had anticipated, and that's one of the things that I have to realize too is that I have to appear open and welcoming if I am desirous of interaction, social interaction with others. I
I
can't
imagine
just
it.
stay
Yeah.
inside the
Yeah.
trailer. Yeah,
I guess
I
anyone
can't
hearing
just
you
stay
say that.
inside all the
Hmm.
time.
Yes. Anyone hearing you say that can probably, whether it's in a camping context, a nomad context, or some other, can I expect folks can all recall times when they've demonstrated they were not open to interaction with people, whether it's in the
Mhm.
city, in the country, camping, on vacation, at work, whatever it is. We've all had the moments. Hopefully, everyone's had moments where they're demonstrating they're kind of open, eyes up, paying attention to people. But we've all definitely found some way to hide in the camper or sneak around or not turn the lights on or
Mhm.
just make it clear that we're not wanting to engage right now. And I get that. I've been there many times, but you miss out on stuff. And like your story, I love all the different ingredients that are getting mixed together here, where you are recognizing that you're recognizing a certain openness on your part, even if
Hmm.
you're not intentionally setting it up. You didn't say, I'm going to sit here and be open, but as soon as someone made some kind of contact, gestured your way, you found yourself, oh yeah, hi, yeah, come on over, kid. So in the moment you're
Yeah.
saying, this is cool, I'm welcoming this. The kid has to come over. So a lot of credit for driving that. Then the two of you hit it off in a way, like something's happening there. You get this great kind of draw in sound through music. So that's kind of a big deal. You can sit there and be open, but if you're just waiting for things to come to you, nothing happens. Even if there are people around, but you can go talk to them, or you can have your fire, you can have your charming adventure dogs, you can have music playing, and folks who enjoy guitars when they're camping, guitars around the campfire, or something else can come over, and before you know it, you've created something. And it reminds me of what I kind of would consider like the snowfall phenomenon. Spending time in the city and knowing almost none of the neighbors, and
Hmm.
if you're in my experience is living in a dense enough place, when you do that, there are plenty of people around, but they're talking to each other less somehow, and you don't know each other. But when something unique happens, like a snowfall, and it kind of shuts things down, maybe people aren't going to work and the transit's not working, whatever it is, suddenly everybody comes out and they're friendly, engaging and open in a way they never are
Hmm.
day to day. So that can happen in the camping spot too, like in your situation you described. It's yeah, everybody
Sure.
was in a good mood.
And what's weird is, or odd, really, not weird, but odd, that I don't really enjoy music when I'm out camping. I
See, yeah,
don't.
hmm
I'd rather be out in nature without the music. But
yeah.
I
I don't
found it
actually,
was
yeah,
interesting that
yeah.
this whole
I don't play when
family
I'm out.
was
Yeah,
musically inclined. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but
Because it was
that's
organic
just
too. So yeah.
exactly, exactly.
So we've been to the
And
campgrounds where
then
the guys roll up on for the weekend getaway and just blast their rock music, just like they're anywhere else. But this was so different, right? This is somebody coming over,
yeah,
person to
that's a
person,
big turnoff.
uh,
Yeah,
acoustic talent, sharing. Not look, I can push play on my loudspeaker, but hey, I'll let's play some songs together, you and me.
exactly.
Yeah,
But that's the other end of that situation is when you are not making yourself available or open to somebody visiting your campsite, and people just walk up. And this has happened to me this year here in Quartzsite, where I was down here laying on my couch taking a nap, and somebody drove up to my campsite and just started yelling, "Hello, hello!" And of course, the
it
that
wasn't
set
me.
the dogs off. And um, anyway, somebody came to ask me a question about my trailer, and then we got to talking for probably about a half an hour, and then he was nice enough, and I enjoyed chatting with the gentleman, but you know, it was what it was, and I'm it's whatever, you know.
Well,
Um,
and
uh,
if you're
not
living the nomad
not
life,
somebody that I would probably,
yeah, if you're living the nomad
yeah,
life, you can
not
expect
somebody I would
certain
probably,
things to do that. Yeah, I get it.
yes,
What are
yeah,
some of the categories you can expect? You can expect, vehicle slash camper slash gear equipment. That's a topic. That's a good excuse.
hmm,
People have genuine interest. It's relevant to the shared
yeah,
interest you two have, and it's a good icebreaker. So you can expect that. Where are you from and where you been are, of course, obvious things that you can anticipate and take
yeah,
advantage of. If you talk to somebody like Todd here, it's super rich vein that you strike if you ask him about places to go. It's what an asset, and if he's willing to share them, and then that's just a special treat. Getting advice from people, getting stories from people, there's something in it for you right there. And then you might actually just enjoy the company, and y'all spend more time together. Dogs, pets, another reason folks might come up. break the ice. Yeah.
Definitely. Um, One of the things that I enjoy really, as far as camping is concerned, is to disperse camping, way out away from people. Um, but that's not always very conducive and open to social interaction. So to me, it's kind of the opposite of being social. It's kind of being in touch with yourself in that way. And I like to be out there solo camping in the boondocks and
Yeah.
not being around other people. But in some instances, I like camping around other people where we're like minded and that sort of thing. I'd really like to know them a lot better first. Um,
Gotcha.
that's the reason why when I was at my other camp spot here in Quartzsite, somebody came in and parked like just a stone's throw from my camp,
And
and
you
I'm
felt you
like,
were somewhere pretty remote. That you figured the expectation would
yeah,
be folks would spread out more.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
I felt like my space was violated, my sanctity was violated. So I moved spots, and that was helpful to me. And even in my new spot, um, I see my neighbors. I can wave at my neighbors. I've even stopped to chit chat when I was making a trash run or water run or something like that. Stopped and chit chatted with them for a
Yeah.
while. But still looking for the tribe here in Quartzsite, even though it's only been a month that I've been here. Um, it's
Hmm.
I'll find a niche and I'll find a group of people that I can socialize with. Um, you
Well,
mentioned pets and dogs, and
yeah.
I've
Yeah.
there's a dog park, a great dog park here, and I've been there, and um, some of the people are out there, and
In Quartzsite, are you sure?
it's very entertaining to listen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very entertaining to listen to them, but I don't think I would be I don't think I would want that level of
Not
in
yet.
my tribe, but it's
Give yourself the whole
no,
season.
no,
See what
it'll probably happen. Yeah, I mean it'll probably happen when I
happens.
start coming down with some sort of dementia or something. I'll be the one
Well,
they talk about like that. Yeah, probably.
and that raises the
Um,
general idea of just like your personality, your mood, what you feel your tribe is, uh, and you never know if you're gonna hit it out with folks. Some folks, well, okay, so you'll have people who enjoy, as both you and I do, going out somewhere really remote. Like I actually carry fondly with me
mhm,
times that I've camped somewhere and didn't see another light. I mean, to me, that's an extraordinary, special experience. But I didn't
mhm,
just need to do it once, or didn't dread it. I thought it was really great. What a blessing this is! Oh, this is amazing. I don't see sign of another person all night. Um, but some people will never like that. Some people might like a little taste, and I guess that's really what I am. I'm looking for a mix. Other people will they'll have a different level of comfort just being on their camping on their own, whether they're around people or not, and that's fair. It's easy for me to say that I'm not too worried when I go out. I've been fairly comfortable, and I don't get particularly worried if other people are approaching. But all of us have our own spidey sense or a little bit of a gut feeling. Um, but acknowledging all of that, if you're not out there and you're not open, which is what you brought up before, you never know what you're going to miss. And that's cliche, of course, obviously, but that's why the your campfire invitation wisdom is also in a symbolic or metaphorical way. That's just common sense. And if people are out there and they're
mhm.
feeling lonely, you've got to do something to fix that. You'll have to move, take a little action. If your people are worried about going nomad but being lonely, yeah, that can happen. But it really doesn't have to. In fact, connecting with you over video just makes me realize that I did not come around to this year's four-wheel camper owner camp, but I missed it, and I was keenly aware of
Yeah,
that,
you
and I
were
missed
missed,
you and
yes.
several other people, and was wishing I was there. But if the more I'm potentially rerouted here and not getting away as much as I like, frankly, why am I not getting on video more often and seeing friendly mugs like yours?
Well, we continue this podcast. It's one of those things that you know can be a regular occurrence.
Oh, that's
Um,
a great, yeah, that's a great, what, incentive?
exactly. And I've been thinking about my parents' experience because they're lifelong campers, and
Mhm.
indeed they spent the last 15 years of their lives, actually, probably the last 20 years of their lives, as campground hosts up in Colorado,
Right, right.
and they they would not be very good dispersed campers. They
Hmm.
would not be doing that because they need the social interaction of being in a campground. In
Yep.
fact, that's what I suspect is the sole reason why they decided to be hosts, because it gave them a way to connect with other people, and they developed this network of friends that would come to their campground every season and camp there, and that was their circle of friends, their tribe, basically. And
Huh.
that's very inspiring to see that they developed that in their way. But I don't think I'm so inclined to do that. I There's nothing more, not much more, I despise than being in a developed campground and having um, neighbors close by, and more importantly, rules to follow, things like that, and people that basically thumb their nose at those rules when the rules are in place. Um,
Mhm.
but they did that for so many years, and it brought them so much satisfaction and joy. Um, in fact, their social group kind of became an extended family to me when I started camping with my boys up there,
Ah,
because we would visit, and their
right.
friends uh, were very close with my parents. Um, one of them was an avid fly fisherman, and so he took the four of us fly fishing, and kind of that's something I don't fish. To me, there's a fine line between fishing and then standing on the bank looking like an idiot. And usually, when I'm doing it, it's the latter. Um, so um, that started this love of fishing in all of my boys,
How about
and
that?
they still enjoy fishing and fly fishing and that sort of thing to this day. Um, but it's just it's amazing how people touch your lives in different ways, um, and you've got to build those social connections to continue to receive that blessing. That's what I think.
Well, amen to that. It is genuinely amazing. My past year, 14 months, has been amazing that way. And that doesn't mean there have been dozens and dozens. I don't have 100 people influencing me that way, but I have a rock solid handful. And it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing the influence that can have and the impact it can have, and how it makes one's life richer, more hopeful, opens up opportunities, just even puts a little cold water in my face to mix things up for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's happening where I am now, which is not camping based, not nomad based, but it's the same phenomenon, just in a different
Mm-hmm.
milieu, like just swimming in different water. But the phenomenon is very much the same. Openness. Um, you're just demonstrating you're open. People offer just a little bit of something. You step through, and you're surprised at what can happen. And um,
Well,
Yeah, I
I
guess
think you
maybe that's
froze
obvious
there,
to a lot of
Jeff.
people, but if you're going to apply that to the nomad life, um, why not be intentional about it before you're heading out? You're new or you haven't even started yet. Just be aware of that first. Keep your antenna open for your potential tribe. Because I got a taste of the Todd tribe, to be a little alliterative, in that Colorado, let's call it undisclosed Colorado. But I got to taste
Yes,
that, and
yes.
great. Just like, just great. All people I want to see again. It was so fun. Almost so fun that thinking about it, I worry I'm not going to get to see them again. That's how quality the folks were and the time is. So it, it's worth seeking that out, and
Definitely.
that might be an intentional element besides seeking out. I can live out of my van. I can live out of my truck. I accomplished it, or I went somewhere really quiet and wild and sat around by myself or with my dog. Um, do you want to also say, oh, I'm also gonna like really engage meaningfully with some people and meet some folks I get to know, who I get to know, um, specifically because we're sharing this thing and we meet out somewhere we never would have met otherwise.
Hmm. Well, definitely. Um, and I think that that's a good place to wrap up tonight. I think you've summed it up quite succinctly why being social and being open to those connections is very important just to your well-being. Um, your outlook on life, is very important that you are out there being social and making connections, and even if the connections are fleeting,
Yeah,
you're interacting with people,
you'll still remember.
and
It'll still affect
that's a
you.
healthy. Yes,
Yes.
it's a healthy way to live your life. It definitely is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and we hope to, at some point after the holidays, to reconvene here in this setting and discuss some other topics with you, people. You great listeners out there. Anybody that is giving us a listen to see what we're all about, we appreciate you doing so. Um, we are the Mobile Mind Podcast. We are remotely interesting, and we thank you for joining us here this evening. Have a great one, folks.